Hello, family and friends. So I'm making another video, and honestly, I'm not really sure what this video is for and who it's for, but I am going to make it. I do have one person in mind that I plan on sharing it with, and I basically, oh, here I go with the basically again. I say it quite a bit. I don't know exactly my point of making this video. I'm kind of just vlogging basically at this point. I'm kind of just getting out there. Thoughts that pop in my head, connections being made. And I think this video is going to kind of be a look at some of the clues and cues that I kind of went around, not went around, but stumbled upon through life. And it's funny because a lot of the connections haven't been made until later in life, and even until this very day. So I had thought of some things, and I'm going to talk on them. Just little stories and just kind of my feelings on how some of these, and the thing is I'm going to speak on things that I've connected, but it's probably not going to be very clear just by watching this video, the connections that were actually made, because I'm kind of just going through a couple stories for myself, because after thinking about some of the things that I experienced as I was growing up, basically I think this starts about when I was 21. It's just, I want to get out the things that were kind of like markers for me along the way. And I'm going to go into a story about a particular person. I'm not going to name any names on this. You know, it's a small town. I'm from a small town, and it's a small world anyway. So I'm just trying not to put anybody else's business out in my own business. So I'm just going to talk on my business as much as I can and try to, keep it my own. So I want to go into a story. I'm going to go into probably a few stories, but one story I want to start off with is one that was kind of really weird and really trippy to me. And besides that, the things I got out of this occurrence, it's one of those things that, I mean, it was just one thing I got out of it. But anyways, I'm going to go on to explain a story. I'm not going to use any real names. I'm not going to put anybody's business out there. This is my side of things. And honestly, anybody I know doesn't know these people anyway. I've always had the ability to connect with people, run into people, meet people, just very people person. I was more so though. So I'm just going to kind of go through a couple of my interactions with some people that I love and people that I don't know, and just go through some stories. But I'm going to start with one that I always knew it was a weird story, but I didn't really put together if it was a worthy story, like to be a story even. So I always had it on the back burner. But it was recently where it clicked that I did actually get a clue from this situation, but it's kind of a long story, so I'm gonna try to make it as short as possible. And I'm also gonna leave out a lot of details, but either way, it started with where I was coming home for the summers. I was in college, probably 21, 22-ish. I'm not sure which year it actually was, but I had come home for the summer, and I was at my mom's house. My baby sister was there, and she had a little friend over, and she was pretty young, 8 or 9, so pretty young, but her little friend came with her little cell phone so her mom can get a hold of her and stuff. The little girls came up to me at one point and pointed out how some guy was on the phone. So I, obviously being the only somewhat young adult there, I took the phone over and I was like, hey, this is a kid's phone. Don't be calling this. And then the guy was just being goofy, and he was like, well, I want to talk to you. And back then, I would talk to anybody. I mean, I would be in chat rooms talking to people. I would, whatever. I mean, I wasn't always the cutest chick, so I would, I found myself just talking to anybody, and especially if somebody's like a guy and trying to, maybe be a little flirtatious. So whatever. So I talked to this guy, and then I told him to get off the kid's phone, and I gave him my number. So I talked to him, and it was so weird how I just went along with this whole thing, and I really was being stupid and reckless, but I mean, obviously I'm fine, but I did at the time kind of knew it was a weird thing that I was doing. And anyway, so the guy talked to me, and then somehow along the line, he convinced me to come over and hang out with him. So that's where it's very reckless. I should not have done that, but back then I was honestly meeting people anyway. So, I mean, it doesn't really matter. Good thing I'm okay though. So no, I wouldn't recommend doing that. But anyways, I did it, and I'm not sure if back then it was like I was just like drawn to it, or if I was just curious, or if I just, was a horny college kid. So I mean, who knows? Anyway, so I went and met this guy. It was really weird that I just did it. But honestly, before I even went, I had told my sister and my mom, my older sister, not my younger one, the situation and what was going on. And I wanted them to know the address I was at. They, were fully aware that I was going. And nobody really tried to talk me out of it, which, I mean, nobody could really talk me out of anything anyways. I mean, at that point, I was an independent, young adult. So I, tried to take any precaution I could, but still, I mean, I could have still ended up dead, but thank goodness I didn't. So I went, and it was a really weird situation. I'm trying to think of how to cut things out. So as I'm coming up into this guy's house, he had a few other guys with him too. So, I mean, I was really being stupid. I get that totally. So I go with these guys up to this apartment, and then I see this blonde chick coming from the opposite direction, and she's storming past. And then the guy that I was meeting, he, was like, oh, go with those guys, go on upstairs. And he followed the chick out, and then they were kind of like arguing in the doorway. So I wondered, okay, I was like, this is his girlfriend or something. But anyways, I mean, young me, I mean, I'm just walking upstairs with these random guys and just, doing my stupid thing. But like I said, I'm okay. So anyway, so I get up there, hung out for a little bit, and I can't remember what was discussed or anything, but I did not feel in danger. I did feel very uncomfortable with the fact that I didn't know anybody, and, that there was already obviously somebody storming around. I didn't need somebody's girlfriend come try to fight me, but I mean, the way she just walked right past me, obviously I wasn't too concerned that she had an issue with me. So I hung out, and then there was a commotion or something going on in like the hallway. And then the guy that I was meeting, he, this was after hanging out with him for a little bit, I guess. I can't remember what we talked about. But he went to his door, and there was somebody asking for something, whatever. So he deals with the person at the door, and then he's like, well, we got to go. So that's kind of where I got really nervous. I was just like, what's happening here? And then he just kind of ushered us all out, and it was really kind of just weird. And honestly, nothing happened. I was sent out, and I was home fine that night. But then he did get my number. I mean, obviously he had my number because I had gotten a hold of him. So it became a summer kind of, I would call it a fling, but it wasn't a fling. It was really weird. It was just, we connected in a way where, we just hung out, So I would hang out with this guy, and it got to the point where he like came looking for me at work and stuff. Like, he was very interested in me in the way of talking. And I can't remember everything we talked about, but he was deep, and he would talk about things I didn't understand. And I remember that. We had many conversations. He gave me a crystal. He was very hippy-dippy, kind of new agey. And I didn't even know what that new agey stuff was at that time. But he was very, yeah, he was a hippie kind of guy. So anyways, and he was a lot older than me. So, I mean, I just kind of just respected him in that way. And he was really good to me too. Always a gentleman. I remember even we were down at the river one time, and he one of those mayflies flew into my eye, and I was freaking out so bad. And he took care of it. He got that mayfly right out my eye. He had to pluck it out. So I mean, he was gentle with me, very gentle, very good to me, and would talk to me about things, and never really hit on me. There was a couple times where he I don't know. Like, I don't know. I know we didn't kiss or anything, but he did like touch my face or something. You know, he was sweet to me. So it wasn't anything like about that. It wasn't hooking up. I never hooked up with the guy. But no, it was weird. It was almost like he kind of just found me, and it even make it more weird. I actually heard about this guy through somebody else. Like, by the second or third time, at least I think it was probably by the second time I had hung out with him, I had figured it out. I put two and two together that this was the guy I've heard about from somebody else. But the other person I heard about him from, I didn't even know that guy. I met him in a chat room or something like that. He did live in Rock Island, so he was like a local, but still, I mean, from my hometown. But I really didn't know him so well. But it's weird because he was telling me these stories about his girlfriend, his current girlfriend, or ex-girlfriend or something like that. I think she was his ex. She had left him for this guy. And this guy had done all these horrible things to this other guy that I had been talking to online. Sorry, I got a message popping up. It's throwing me off. So he told me about how this guy did all these horrible things. He's a horrible criminal and all these things. And he stole his girlfriend and things like that. I guess some of the stories that the guy that I had met up with physically at his house through the phone and all that, he was telling me things too, and that's why I figured it out. And then I also figured it out by the blonde. It turned out that the blonde was that girl, that the ex-girlfriend that, you know, this guy had stolen from him. So, but I don't know what kind of relationship they had then and there, but I mean, it doesn't really matter to me. But because I wasn't home wrecking anybody anyways, I was just hanging out and partying with people. So so it was really weird that I had heard about the dude before I even met him. And I had heard about him through a guy that I didn't even know. So when I put two and two together, I was nervous to even mention anything because, A, that was back when people did not claim that they talked in chat rooms, but I did all the time. I don't even care anymore. So yeah, I was reluctant to mention, hey, I talked to this guy in a chat room and he told me all about you, you know? So I did end up bringing it up to him, and I was like, hey, do you know so-and-so? And he's like, yeah, how do you know him? And I was like, I don't know, I just kind of know him. I was like, I don't really know him, but I heard about you through him. And it was the same guy. So, I mean, it was just a small world. I get that, small town. But it's like I had been warned about this guy and was told that he was so horrible, which he very well might be. But I never picked up on that. I kind of feel like he was just kind of on a different level than a lot of people. He's still running around. I've tried to find him. I can't find him, but on Facebook or anything. But either way, I'm kind of curious how he's doing because he said he's, you know, said some things to me that stuck with me for, I don't know, how long has it been? 15 years or something like that. So, I forgot where I left off. Basically, the one thing I got from this guy was, besides it was a really weird situation, it's almost as if like he kind of found me. And I don't know, maybe that was his MO. Maybe he did just call random numbers and try to find chicks to ruin their life, you know? I don't know. But I never gathered that from him. Or maybe I was spared because I am a different kind of chick. So, and I always have been. So, anyways, there was one thing though, near the end, when he knew I was going to go back to school, he, I kind of think I remember him like being like very serious about this. And he's like, if there's one thing, because he would always try to tell me things. And like I said, it always went over my head. At that time in life, I wasn't as deep as I am now. So, there was one thing he wanted to make sure I got out of knowing him. And he did say that in the, I don't remember his exact words, but he did say, if there's anything you get from me, know this. And I'm like, okay, what is it, you know? And all he told me was chaotic order. So, chaotic order. Back then, I didn't know what it was. I didn't even look it up. I didn't really care too much. But it did actually come up along all my truth-seeking searches. So I'm kind of starting to realize, like I said, I don't remember what he was going into and what he was saying. But this guy, I think, was basically kind of how I am today. You know, he was aware and awake, and he was very just deep, you know. He wasn't spiritual that I know of. He didn't speak on religious things or Christianity or anything. He didn't speak on anything like that I remember. But he kind of reminded me of my dad, where he was kind of very in tune and in touch. And, you know, I'm the type of person that I will try to learn as much as I can from anybody that has anything to offer, anything new or anything true. So, I do feel like I got some truths out of him. And it's kind of freaky now, because the one thing he made sure that I got from him was chaotic order. And that's exactly what we're dealing with here today. I don't think a lot of people are aware of that, but it's pretty chaotic right now. They haven't kicked in the order yet, but it's coming. So I'm going to stop this video here, but I am going to make some more little short videos that are gonna tie in with my little Q's and Q's. So that's one of my first Q's that I really kind of, not Q, that would be clue, that kind of just opened my eyes. And I wanted to go into the whole story because I wanted to kind of explain that this wasn't like just a random path crossing type of thing, spotted somebody out. There was too many connections here that, like, I felt like I was supposed to meet this guy, and I feel like that guy was supposed to plant some seeds into my brain, and I think he did. So now things have bloomed, and I'm just gonna out with everything I've known, everything that I kind of, you know, I'm trying to make sense of these things. So and obviously I still haven't made complete sense of anything, but so hopefully I can just, you know, piece it together and, you know, get a clearer picture. So we're going to go on to other stories after that. So I'm not sure if there's really anything else that needs to be said on this. So I keep saying so. I am going to actually mention one other thing. I mentioned how I had been very involved in chat rooms. I remember back before AOL was like, you know, everybody had it, you know. I remember trying to, like, I just always had a need to get on the internet. I so feel like I'm an internet baby, and it's fine. I'm fine with that now. I was pretty ashamed of it growing up, but I've learned to pretty much navigate it very well. I've been involved in it for quite some time, and I mean, I'm not even afraid to say, even probably mildly addicted to it for some time too. I was in chat rooms all the time. I'm not embarrassed to say it now. I would have been very embarrassed to say it back when I was younger, because nobody else was really doing it. And honestly, I wasn't getting attention out and about, and that was before we had our phones and our cameras and all that stuff. So I was, you know, hiding behind a computer screen. I was looking for attention in that way. So back then, I was in chat rooms often. I did actually meet people. That's one reason why I would never recommend any parent to allow their children, especially now. We're talking a while ago, so I mean now So I just definitely wouldn't recommend people allowing their children, even teens, as much access to this, or free access to any of this, even social media. I mean, obviously it's a whole nother ball game now, but I probably should have been killed a couple times, at least raped a couple times. So I mean, I did spend a lot of time on the internet. I did meet people. So I don't know. And I not just meet people. I mainly had conversations with people, long-term conversations, like years worth sometimes on some of these people. Not building like a dating relationship, but there was definitely relationships built amongst a few of these people. So, definitely, I would have to say, I mean, I'm the type of person, I've got friends in real life, I've got friends online, I've got people everywhere. So I definitely don't recommend everybody to be this way. It was definitely a risk when I was a lot younger. Um, so I don't know. But my point is that it's funny. A lot of my cues and clues came from people I had met from in the internet. I actually learned about revelations from a guy that I met from a room and would talk to on a regular basis. I mean, I really do firmly believe God puts people in our lives for reasons. And some of them are just for a short season. Some of them for a lifetime. So I'm kind of just trying to compile what I got from these people that have been in my life and what was the reason. So, I mean, I'm definitely fine with just chalking people or situations off as just, you know, not anything. No learning experience, no anything. So, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm starting to ramble, but that was basically my weird story. And I hope it is, like, understandable because I know I kind of bounce around and I try to, you know, stay focused, but I'm telling you, this brain of mine, it won't shut up and it's just all over the place. So, I don't know. Just hang in there with me.